It's that card girl, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Gundam card game Starter Deck 8, Flash of Radiance. And this is a red and blue starter deck, and I still really do love that they put one color on one side for the Gundam logo and the other color of the deck on the other side. And the back of the box lets you know a bit about what you're going to be getting, and if you read the list that they have, it does let you know God decks are still a thing. So let's go ahead and get into this deck and see if it's a God deck and what all cards come inside. I am still really enjoying the suspense of them having put the resource cards on top, but we'll get back to that in a second. First, we have our Quick Start Guide paper play mat that's in all the boxes. And we have our Flash of Radiance bonus pack, which includes a plus version of any card that's in the deck. With the first few starter decks, they had the deck right on top so you'd know immediately upon opening the box if it was a God deck or not. I really like the added suspense of having the resource cards on top. Let's go ahead and take a bit of a closer look at our deck sandwich, which has the resource cards on top, our 50 card deck in the middle, and our cardboard damage tokens on the back. We'll slide the little plastic sleeve off, fitting tight as a glove as ever. And then on top we have our 10 resource cards, and still no God deck. On top we have 2 copies of our red LR unit, the level 9 8 cost Kasai Gundam. Two copies of our blue LR unit, Penelope, which is level 7 and 6 cost. And then mixing things up some, we have 2 copies of our reprinted with new art, level 3 1 cost blue Siege Floyd that came originally in Starter Deck 2. And then onto our non-LR units, starting with red, we have 4 copies of the level 5 4 cost Kasai Gundam, three copies of Messer Type F Naked Commander Type, which is level 4 and 2 cost, four copies of the level 2 2 cost Messer Type FO1, and 3 copies of Messer Type FO2 Mine Layer, which is level 3 and 2 cost. On to the rest of our blue units, we've got 4 copies of the level 5 3 cost Penelope, 4 copies of the level 3 3 cost Gustav Karl Type 00, and 3 copies of our last unit, the level 1 1 cost Jagan Ground Type A Manhunter. On to pilots, we've got 4 copies of our red Hathaway Noah, who is level 4 and 1 cost, and 4 copies of our blue Lane Aim, who's also level 4 and 1 cost. On to command cards, we've got 3 copies of the red level 3 1 cost Words for Hathaway, and 3 copies of the level 5 1 cost Lady Luck, which is also red. And then on to bases, there's 3 copies of the level 2 1 cost Valiant, and 2 copies of the blue level 3 1 cost Devow. And of course our EX base and EX resource. And at the very end, we've got our cardboard damage counters, with this deck having 4 1s, 2 2s, 2 3s, 1 4, and 2 AP plus 2s. Now that we know what all comes in Starter Deck 8, let's take a closer look at what some of the cards do. Starting with our red LR unit, Kasai Gundam, and its link pair pilot, Hathaway Noah. This unit might say it's level 9 and 8 cost, however if you don't have any level 6 or up units, you get to take away 1 cost and 1 level for each unit your enemies have in play. And since it specifies while the card is in your hand for this effect, as soon as you play it, it goes back to being level 9, 8 cost. Also, when you pair a pilot to this unit, you get to deal 3 damage to the highest level enemy unit. If there's multiple enemy units with that level, you get to choose which one you deal the damage to. But speaking of pairing pilots, let's take a look at the link pair pilot, Hathaway Noah, who gives whatever unit he's paired with an additional 2 attack and 1 health, which would bring this Gundam up to 7 attack and 6 health since it's originally a 5/5. When you pair Hathaway Noah to a unit that has the Mafty trait, you can choose another Mafty unit to be able to attack a damaged active enemy unit. Our other LR unit, Penelope, has 5 attack and 5 health. When link paired to Lane Aim, it becomes a 7/6 since Lane Aim gives 2 attack and 1 health to whatever unit he's paired with. Once per turn, when Penelope attacks with a pilot paired to it, you can show and then put on the bottom of your deck an Earth Federation trait unit from your hand. Then you get to draw 2 cards. A great way to get more cards into your hand and to get a unit you're not quite wanting to play yet out of your hand without sacrificing it entirely. And it pairs wonderfully with Lane Aim's passive ability. Since you've drawn a card using an effect, Penelope can't be blocked if you have a way to attack with it again. Now, we're not going to talk about the blue Siege Ploy command card because we already talked about it in our Starter Deck 2 video, so if you're wanting some more information about that, go check out that video. Now, onto the command card, Lady Luck. This card can be used during your main phase or an attack phase to deal damage to an enemy unit. If there's a friendly link unit that has the Mafty trait, you'll deal 2 damage. If not, you're dealing 1 damage with this. This blue unit, Jagan Ground Type A Manhunter, has no attack and only 1 health, but its effect when you deploy it makes it worth mentioning. By playing this unit, you can pick a level 2 or less rested enemy unit to not reactivate during the opponent's next start phase. Our other red command card, Words for Hathaway, can also be the Mafty trait pilot Gauman Noble. As a pilot, he'd give his unit 1 additional attack. As a command card, this can be used during your main phase to give a friendly link unit Breach 1 for the turn. Then we have our 2 bases, starting with the blue 5 health Devow. Once per turn during your main phase, you can pay 2 resources to heal 2 HP to one of your units. Both of these bases have the burst effect of deploying them. Devow has you add a shield card to your hand upon deployment. Valiant does as well, but also upon deployment has you give a unit of yours an additional 2 AP for the turn. However, with Valiant, aside from being a 5 health base, that's all it does. And that's about it for this deck. Judging from the turnout at our local card shop, it seems like STO7 is definitely the more popular between 7 and 8, but this deck does seem to have a few fun aspects to it. Before we get on to our bonus pack, where we get to see what card we got a plus version of for this deck, I do want to remind you that we put out new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with shorts on Sundays. We focus mainly on Gundam, One Piece, Lorcana, and Pokemon, although we are getting into Magic the Gathering now. Make sure you're following us over on Instagram if you haven't already at thatcardgirl.tcg. There's a link for it down in the description. And speaking of links, there's a link to our Discord channel down there as well. And I know this is a Gundam video, but if you're interested in Pokemon, make sure to go check out our post tab because we have a giveaway running that closes on the 31st of January at 11:59 p.m. Pacific. So there's only a short window of time you have left to get into it if you want to win some cool IR Pokemon cards. Now, let's get to checking out our bonus pack so we can see what card we got in it. The C Plus Siege Ploy. I love that it's the plus version of the new art for the reprinted card. Very versatile card to get in this pack, honestly. Like, comment, subscribe, and tell your favorite mix-up about us. That Card Girl out!